podcast comes to talk about the most forbidden topic known to man. Today, I remember that podcast goes down that dark, desolate road as we break down Halloween under a nostalgic lens. Join us, join Kris and Ian as we travel into the unknown. As always, with me, I have Ian. Ian, say hello.
Hey.
All right, welcome. This is the podcast and rocking and rolling. Today we're going to talk about Halloween. It's a huge subject for a lot of people. Arguably, everyone loves it. Honestly, think about it. Even people that don't like Halloween like to hate on it. So they like it at the same time. Did you enjoy Halloween as a kid? Did the art of getting candy, did that just blow your mind? Did you dress up? Did you go to lock-in or church Halloween events that were trunk or treats? We're gonna break this stuff down, and we're happy to have you here. So, Ian, what was the first thing you dressed up for as a Halloween that you can remember?
I don't know if I totally remember it, but I've seen pictures of myself as a young child. I was like 5-ish, and this was around the time that the Power Rangers movie came out, like the first one in theaters with Ivan Ooze, and I dressed up as the Black Ninja Ranger. Like when they got the ninja costumes before they became the new Power Rangers. That's what I dressed up as, and I wore a sock as like a bandana.
A sock. I love it. That's creative. And wait, didn't they have masks? Or wait, there was human forms. You're right. Okay.
Right.
I did the same. Honestly, my answer was gonna be a G.I. Joe, like Army Man.
Oh yeah.
But when you said Power Rangers, I was like, oh yeah, I dressed up as the Red Ranger. I don't remember that being my favorite, but maybe that was just the costume they found. But yeah, wasn't that the dopest? Because as a kid, you're like, this is my new identity. Anybody that runs into me while I'm trick-or-treating, they're going to know that I'm a Power Ranger or a Ninja Turtle or whatever you dressed up as. It was so silly.
Yeah, well, and I have the same kind of feeling still to this day sometimes when, like, when you leave the movie theater and you just watch like an action movie or a Power Ranger movie, and you're just like, you get out there and you're just like, I can kick ass right now. I'm freaking feeling it. And it's the same feeling when you're a kid wearing that Halloween costume for sure.
It's so funny you say that because specifically about the hero movies, because when like Iron Man 1 and 2, when the stuff started to just start turning, I was like, this is kind of running its course. There's a lot of movies. I don't know. And this is at the beginning, so I endured. And then I saw maybe one of the Avengers, maybe the first one, and I was like, man, it really clicked with me that it makes you feel positive, and you're like, yes, so I went back and watched everything, and like I understand and enjoy it now, because it's just like I need that pick me up. I know it's going to happen no matter what. There's no weirdness, or there may be a new. Anyway, I don't have to get lost on this, but I'm so happy you said that because it does leave me with that feeling.
Yeah. Well, you say that, and I'm thinking back, dude. I don't know, because I'm a huge, I mentioned in other episodes or whatever, I'm a big comic book guy. Like, I read a lot of comics growing up. I love superhero movies and stuff. But, like, I'm just realizing I don't know if I ever dressed up as a superhero for Halloween, which is kind of wild because those are super common.
I know, right? And maybe my guess, I never was either. I don't think. My guess would be that those costumes are probably more expensive, but also before the movies, there were action figures and games, of course, but it wasn't as commercialized. Maybe I don't know. I would love to. I guess I should have looked that up, like 90s hero costumes, like to see what they look like, because they would be way more comic book accurate than actual licensed movie stuff. So maybe it was
Right.
just harder.
Yeah, and it probably, I don't know if it was as big then either, because like the superhero craze really took hold in
That's
like,
what I mean.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, because like the Spider-Man and X-Men movies were like, we were like 10 when they came out, but like when we were, yeah,
Right.
when we were children, like younger, it was all like Saturday morning cartoons. So there probably, yeah, like you're right, there probably were like elements and there were some superhero costumes, but yeah, it probably was just less accessible then because it just wasn't as big. Maybe I'm not totally sure though.
Yeah, I don't know. And now I'm thinking like what other licensed costumes did I see a lot, and it was like the Scream mask. I had my favorite one was the one that squeezed the heart that you had in your shirt and it would like bleed the mask, and it was so
Yeah.
cool. But I guess other ones would be like I saw a lot of Fred Flintstone or Flintstone characters. Later on, Minion stuff. I see a lot of
Oh
Minion
yeah.
people. But when I was a kid, Jason. No,
Hmm.
well, yeah, all the those characters from the '90s that were like horror movie characters were popular.
Yeah. I think too. One thing I really like about the costumes back in the day, like when you'd go to. Well, like Spirit Halloween, I don't remember it being a thing when we were kids, but like it was always like Party City was where we would get
Party
our
City.
costumes. Yeah, and Party City would have like it wouldn't be like licensed merchandise. It would have like the knockoff names or something. So instead of Freddy Krueger, it'd be
Right.
like
Y-
Gay Burned Man in sweater, and it's like
Yeah.
yeah, but it's
Yeah, and it was like they had like maybe two rows. I think that Halloween, yeah, and that place is humongous and like separated in styles and stuff. But now you got me thinking, was Halloween as big back then as it is now? Because you got the Nightmare Before Christmas crowd. They're like they amplify everything, spooky and not just them, but but like you see what you know what I mean? Like it's just becoming more and more like I don't know, scary movies, murder documentaries, and it's all this stuff is like becoming almost year round. So Halloween is like the pinnacle for it. So I can see. So you got your tier system now. You got your Party City where you can still get those generic costumes you're talking about, and then you've got your Halloween Town Express, those stores. I can't. You said the name correctly, and I can't
Spirit
think of it.
Halloween.
Spirit Halloween, Halloween Town Express. I'm gonna open that one up so it's real.
Yeah.
And then after that, you got your deep end people. Those people that sit over, they let their kids go into the deep end, and they maybe not even watching them. But there's these costume stores and like for like plays and things like that where you can get some like real high quality costumes. So like it's grown, I guess. That's a long-winded way of saying it's grown. It's pretty cool. I guess with the internet, you have to really compete with those kind of stores, and people like to go and try things on. So these brick and mortar can it's like one of the things. Yeah, I saw a Saturday Night Live skit and it was like all these stores are closing down. It's so sad, the economy and this and that. And then it's like, but we're here to help. You're a small town. And then it's like Halloween Express or the Spirit Halloween, and they're like, we're here to turn it around. For the 1 month we're here, it's gonna be all right. And I was just like, man, that's true. But back to costumes. As a kid, I always gravitated towards my generic costume was like I said, like it was like generic army man or generic ninja. Like I would have I'm not sure what the traditional name of the garb is, but I would look like a samurai. I guess back then we weren't as worried about cultural stuff. Now I feel bad that I say I was a ninja, but I was. I bounced back and forth between those like 2 or 3 times. That was my favorite, I guess. And then also, let me ask you: do you remember you could take anything normal, like you could say you played baseball, like as a kid, you had baseball clothes or football. You could be a dead baseball player or a dead football player. Did you ever do that or have friends that did that?
I think I had friends, like I saw people do that. I don't know that I ever
Yeah.
did. Like, I was never big into like scary costumes so much or like dead
Okay.
things. I was just like, I want to dress up as something cool to me. You know, like I said, like the same thing as you, like ninjas, a knight or whatever. You know, but I never wanted to just
Oh,
be
that would
like,
have been
I
a
want
good
to be
one.
spooky. You know, it just unless I forgot to get a costume when I was a teenager and maybe I put like a sheet on or something or I don't know, but like.
I think
Which
that's
actually,
probably what that's what it was. It was like a last minute like, okay, here's mass, you can get like the $5 makeup kit or your mom may even have like lipstick and stuff, so it's like fine. So, but
how,
I can remember specifically I did that one year and it was so cool. I was a dead baseball player. And then the Halloween event we went to was at my babysitter's church and they were like, we're kind of uncomfortable with this. Could you wash that stuff off? You can just be a baseball player. And I was like, I get it. But dang, I was so boned, I
yeah.
was like a little kid. So silly.
Well, that's like my daughter. She when she was in or no, my son rather when he was in preschool just a year ago. He's in kindergarten now. They he went to like a Christian daycare, which was not like a conscious choice on our part. It was just like we needed a daycare and it was new and
Oh
nice, and
yeah.
it ended up being a Christian daycare, and that's whatever. But it was like they sent out this thing like, "Hey, just so you know, we don't celebrate Halloween here. That's devil stuff. But we will
Hmm.
let your kids dress up, and we'll still do candy. We're just not." I was like, "Well, you're still doing it though."
Oh my god, dude!
Like,
Had that situation happen to me this past year. I played in a band, and I won't say the band or the people, but he was like, "We got to dress up. Everybody's got to dress up, and we got to match. We're gonna do a Scooby Doo thing." And I was like, "Sweet." So I put $50 to buy this costume, and then the day of, he's like, "Oh, you know what? I'm Christian, and I don't think I should celebrate that." And I was like, "Yo, I bought this costume, bro. That's so yeah, so silly." But it was just like that. We get the candy and costumes, but it's like all right, dancing around silliness. But
well, you kind of reminded me of a thing with my wife when she was at her job. She's been at her same job for like 7 years, and like her first role there when she was an intern, the HR department was like, "Hey, we're a department. We're gonna dress up in like matching stuff, similar costumes and or themed." And so they're like, "Okay, we're gonna be a fruit salad. We're all gonna dress up as different fruit." And she was like, "That sucks though. It's boring. I don't want to do that. I just want to dress up as whatever I want." And they were like, "Well, we're going to be fruit, so you have to do that." And she was pregnant at the time. I was like, you know what? Kind of screw with them a little bit because they're trying to be all cutesy and not like, creepy like my wife wanted to be. I told her, I was like, you should be a blood orange, just like dress up as an orange, but with like a knife sticking out of it. And isn't some blood running down it or something just to piss them off? Because it's like you're technically fitting the theme, but also it's Halloween spirited, It's not just some lame ass, look at me, I'm a banana,
yeah, did she do it?
No, I don't think I don't remember what she did actually. I want to talk to her about it, but I also just think that theme thing kind of sucks unless you're like having a party one weekend to get together to like design them together because I can imagine somebody going all out and dressing up in some big like bunch of like balloons to look like a grape, like a big bunch of grapes, and then some other guy
Right.
walking in with just like a yellow shirt and saying I'm a banana.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, that's a whole Office episode, essentially, like a funniness, like or culture. Like, so there's like the person that puts the white little strip of paper, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm a Catholic priest,"
Yeah.
or like very very minimal. And then there's that person that dressed up as like the Saw clown, like theatric, and
Yeah.
it's just like, how did they do that?
Like that episode of The Office where like three of them dressed up as the Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah, and it's different. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Man, Halloween that's it's so cultural. And that's why the facts I looked up prior to the episode of like financials it's 12.6 billion was spent on Halloween costumes, candy, party supplies, things like that. That's a good chunk of the GDP, I would believe.
Yeah.
So it's like it makes sense that there's different levels and everybody's like like I'm not gonna dress up for I'm not paying $200 for a costume to wear for 10 minutes. But also another thing I noticed about costumes that was annoying even as a kid was it, or at least where we are, it would be hot when you would buy the costume and you'd be like, yes, this is gonna be so sweet. And it'd be that thin material, you know.
Yeah.
And then the Halloween party would happen, and then it's like 30 degrees outside, and you're like, now I gotta either wear a snowsuit over my costume or freeze to death, or it was, man. I hope I'm not the only one that had to experience that struggle.
No, dude, I actually have a kind of a quick story about that. And well, and even before I say that, like what were Halloween costumes made of? Like it was that thin like sheen, was it like with that thin material they were all made of. That all like it felt weird and it smelled funny when it was on your face. It just did.
Oh, that the rubber. It's like I'm not sure. There's no way it's healthy.
No.
But my thinking, I thought about it a few years ago. The reason those costumes are so dissolvable and quick to break down is because, and they're so expensive, is because you're purely paying for the license.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Because those generic costumes aren't as intense. But it's like, oh, that Iron Man mask looks sweet, and it's like, $60, and it's
right.
like it comes with the mask and then maybe the most thinnest belt ever, and then you got to provide the rest of the stuff like pants and shoes and stuff like. Oh man, it's interesting what they do.
Yeah, but I remember though, like you're saying, like one year when I was like 16 and a bunch of us went trick or treating together. When we were too old to really like. I think anyone. I don't care if anyone goes trick or treating as a teenager. Like I'll still give kids candy, but we were intentionally being shitty about it. Like when we were like, oh yeah, well we can and we're gonna get, and we weren't even dressed up, half of us. We're just doing it to be assholes. But like. One day, the one time we were doing it, it was like you were saying, it was freezing outside. And the neighborhood we were trick-or-treating in was this girl we were with, Patricia. We were near her house. And since it was so cold out, she was like, hey, let's pop into my house. We'll get some hot chocolate. So it was me, her, and like 3 or 4 other people. And we're just chilling in her kitchen, warming up, drinking hot cocoa. And this is I hope once we release this and like people start listening, this is going to be like a confession. Like nobody knows this, I don't think, except for the other few people that were there. But she went to the bathroom, and I saw on their counter in their kitchen like laxative powder. And I was thinking like Dumb and Dumber, like this would be hilarious if I put this in her hot chocolate. So I did.
Classic scene.
Yeah, and so like whatever, she's, we go trick or treating for a little bit longer, whatever, and nothing happens as far as I remember. And then the next day at school, her mom was a substitute teacher, and she was a really nice lady, but Patricia wasn't at school that day. And I was like, "Oh, Miss Garland, where's Patricia at?" And she's like, "Oh, she's not feeling well today." It's like,
oh no!
Like I just like destroyed her intestines, putting laxatives in her hot chocolate. I feel so, because she was being so nice. I didn't mean it like cruelly at all. It just, I thought it would be funny.
Right.
But it was that happened. So if Patricia ever hears this, I'm so sorry.
And that wouldn't have happened if you had Google. No, it still would have happened. But like you in your mind, you're thinking it's not that gonna be that bad, and then if you're confessing the story about putting something like that, one time at the skating rink, actually I was indirectly there, so I was a part of it. But some girl was like, "Let's put eye drops in his Coke," and it was Mowgli, or sorry, not Mowgli.
You put eye drops in Mowgli's Coke?
No, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. I talked her out of it, and I swear. And now that I say this, like everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, whatever, it happened." But I mean, he didn't get sick. But I was like, wait a minute. This is gonna be funny. But how do you know how much you're putting in this and that? And then I was so happy my the wheels of my brain were spinning faster than the silliness and the funniness, and so we didn't do it. But yeah, apparently if you put it like even a little drop of that in a drink, like you're just like, you know, for the rest of the night.
Dude.
And I'm so happy that didn't happen. It was a skating rink in Oliver Springs.
I love the skating rink in Oliver Springs. So no, I have no Halloween memories, so I won't go into it too much.
They had great Halloween parties there.
Yeah, I mean, that's
so
what
now
I've heard.
we've told 2 stories of that. At least we learned our lesson early. You know? That's a terrible thing to do.
Yeah, and dude, honestly, no offense. I hope you don't take this the wrong way when I say this, but I'm legitimately shocked that, especially at that point in your life, you were the voice of reason about a prank.
That's what I'm saying, man. I was like, wait a minute. This could be bad.
Dude, like back in those days, like our silliness factor, like we were overriding everybody. We were the one pushing other people to do stupid shit. I'm so surprised that you were like, no, let's not do this.
I was a sweet person. I was a sweet, quiet, and shy person. Man, you know what? I was thinking, because we started out thinking of Halloween as a kids. I'll tell you, one of the best Halloween parties I ever went to was that Nov Ska party. Or is that what you call it? I call it. That would technically be a house show because they played. I don't remember who else played. But it was so fun.
Was that at Zach's house?
Yes.
Yeah, dude, those were fun. Zach Sizemore.
Sizemore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I miss those guys. That party, everyone dressed up. To me, so when I go to a party that is like legendary, or is like so crazy that it reminds me of a movie. That party was like a movie party.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was dressed up. It was crazy. There's beer pong everywhere. The bands were fun. Like in Sex Drive when they see Fall Out Boy in the barn.
Oh yeah,
it was kind of like that feeling. But that was special, man. And it was Halloween, and I don't remember if there was candy, but I know there was everything else. So
that's funny too, because like you say. We haven't really talked about candy much at all. Like we talk about, it's like
not yet.
But like that's you mentioned your research element of the financials of it. The very simple research element I did was I looked up the most popular candy by year to see like what and like I looked it up. So it's a very ageist article. It was like, it says like the year you were born, and it only goes up to 1999. It's like there could be younger people reading this, but either way, there was in 1991. So that's because we were born like a week apart. Do you?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. What do you think was the most popular candy in the year we were born?
I'm gonna say Butterfinger.
That's not a bad guess because the candy is a peanut butter chocolate combination, but it is not Butterfinger.
Reese's?
Nope, another good guess, but it's actually peanut butter M&Ms.
Oh, and those must, and you probably don't have the information in front of you, but I wonder if those had just been introduced,
I was thinking the same thing.
But honestly, I don't know. That's a whole other hole.
I'm pulling it up right now. I'm gonna say,
please do.
When did peanut butter M&Ms come out? It came out in 89. So they were getting popular.
Oh yeah, and I think it was Butterfinger BBs that
The Simpsons.
Yep, Simpsons.
Yeah,
and then ET was Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So.
Dude, I don't know if this is a hot take here, but like peanut, like obviously Reese's is like the superior peanut butter chocolate candy in like every form, but I don't even care, dude. Peanut butter M&Ms are infinitely better than Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, and I wonder, it's just the texture. It's too soft, Reese's Pieces. I think. I don't know. I would like to try both of them now and see what I think. But I do like M&M peanut butter. So I'm gonna agree with you there.
Yeah, that's actually I'd say that's my favorite M&M. Honestly, like M&M peanut butter. I like I think pretty much every other kind, but peanut butter is just on another level for me.
I see. So growing up, I think candy bar would be Baby Ruth at first.
Love it.
And then now I'm like a Payday guy. And then during the pandemic, I found chocolate Paydays. Which is like...
Isn't that just Baby Ruth? like it's just... Isn't that the same ingredients as a Baby Ruth?
You say that, and then all of a sudden I hear a door open and it's someone's shooting you. I don't know, but it is very good. I don't think I've had a Baby Ruth in a long time.
Me neither, but they're
I'll tell you a
good.
candy bar that people like that I never really liked was Three Musketeers.
Yeah, too
Because
much
you bought
nougat.
into it, and it was would that is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's like that squishy. It wasn't marshmallow, but it was. I don't know. I didn't. It was just that stuff, and I was like, I don't know. There's no crunch. Kind of weird. And it took me a while to get into Twix, but then I was like, I like caramel a lot, so there's that's in there. Cause I feel like I ate a lot of candy playing at like youth club basketball games. Like that would be the snack before the game for some reason. So I had a wide collection of candy bar knowledge. But what about you? What like when you reached into that bag? What was you stoked to grab for as far as candy bar?
Growing up, I did like Reese's. I did love Baby Ruths, and same dude. I don't think I've had one in a long time, but dude, peanut butter M&Ms for sure. I love Snickers. I love Reese's, but I've grown to like a couple different. Like I still love Snickers. Snickers is top 3 candy for me, but
Yeah,
dude, my favorite candy I've grown to love is Ferrero Rocher. Dude, that stuff's so good.
the ones like that are in the ball. It's like a ball.
Yeah. And dude, I swear
Okay.
this is the dumbest thing in the whole entire world.
Hey
But
man, you fancy now.
dude, dude, that's what. No, I used to work on the road. I would drive like 8 hours to Arkansas one way every weekend to and back. Just see my family. So about halfway there, I'm like, I'm gonna stop, grab some candy for the road. And this is a real thought I had. I'm dead serious. I was looking in the candy section. I saw the Ferrero Rocher, and I went to reach for it and stopped myself. I'm like, no, I'm not fancy enough to eat that. And then instantly, I'm like, that's so stupid. Like
I know it's not that expensive.
no, it's like $1.50.
If you're buying it weekly in big batches, sure.
Yeah. But like
yeah,
the commercials are really elitist. Like they make you feel like only rich people should eat Ferrero Rocher.
Yeah, and that's funny because I just literally said like, "Whoa, you're rich, dude."
Right. That's what it did. It's like wrapped in the gold foil. It's like that decadent commercial. Like
Have you been to the Ferrero Rocher store? I don't even know if I said that right. There's one in the mall, and maybe it's just because the mall I'm near is like a tourist trap mall, but they have barrels, and you go in, and it's different. So you've seen the produce section where you can scoop, coffee out, and
Yeah.
you weigh it.
For sure.
Well, they do that with those wrapped Ferrero Rocher. And I'm just like, I've always wanted to go in, but it looks real high pressure, and I'm not their average clientele, so I didn't want to get swept into it, But I know what you're talking about, like at CVS or not. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
CVS. Those little like folded triangle bags, and I get them every so often. So I like the sea salt ones, and then another fancy candy. When we'll get back to Halloween. At every old person's house, and now my house, is those like long cigar stick candy. Not candy, but who makes that? Pepperidge Farm. The long sticks
like the
that look
Biscoff?
like
Is that what it's
straws.
called?
Nah, it's like that. It's that bread, but they're like crispy and they break, and you think you can eat one, but then you've eaten one can. So I don't know the name of them, but I always thought that those were too fancy for me. Like I'm like, I shouldn't have these.
Dude, that's so funny about old people with like candy and snacks and stuff, because sometimes they've got like until they turn it into the sewing kit, they've got those
the
tins.
cookies.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Danish cookies, and it's like that feels really fancy. But then they eat
does. Where do you
Pepperidge
buy
Farm
those?
stuff. But then they also, like on the opposite end, like when it comes to giving candy to kids and stuff, which sounds so weird to say now. Like it's the culture has changed so much. It's like that's like that you're trying to abduct the child now. When we were kids, it was like that's just what they did at church. But the fucking the old people giving out candies, they had like the cheapest, worst stuff where it was like Tootsie Rolls were like the
Pennies. Yeah,
Yeah, or like
bags of pennies.
What are those ones like? I've never seen where you even buy them, like where old people would even buy these things. But it's like, there's those strawberry candies that have like they're
Oh, they're
not
like gooey on the inside.
maybe, but I don't even
I'll
remember
tell you,
eating them. But they have like a wrapper that's like a sheen strawberry
you're gonna.
look.
Yeah, no. You're gonna hate hearing this, but those are one of my favorite candies of almost all time. I don't see them much anymore, but my great grandma, she lived in a trailer next to my grandparents, and I had a little remote control Jeep, or not remote control, but you sit in it and it drives around electric.
Yeah, battery
And
power.
I
Yeah.
would drive over to her house, and she would always give me those candies, and everybody rips on them for being nasty, and I'm like, oh, they're so good. The gooiness in the middle. I don't know. I've always enjoyed them, but I know what you're talking about. They suck to get on Halloween.
Well, yeah, well, and that's the thing is like I don't even know if I ever have tried one. It's just one of those that like, or it's kind of like those old candies we used to get when we were kids may still exist. Is like they were dark brown or black wrapper or an orange wrapper, and they're just like
Yeah, the
caramel
fudge.
toffee. Yeah, and
Yeah, I was just thinking of that. I'm so happy you segued into crappy candy because I wanted to talk about how much no brand stuff is out there, and there's good stuff. Those were good.
yeah, I liked them.
You could eat a bunch and they get stuck in your mouth, and you're like, all right, I gotta slow down. But they were so generic, and I guess you can buy a bag of just those. It must be a cheap candy. I need to go look, and I should have looked before I did the podcast, but that's okay. Another one that I really enjoyed that was kind of generic with those eyeballs that you bite. If you bit, it's like a gumball, but you bit in half, and it had the goo in it, or the green little dots like spheres that you could shake and it would sound like spider eggs almost.
I don't know. I know
love
that
those. It I'm not sure how to explain it. It was like those eyeballs that had the goo in it, but instead of goo, it just had like almost like nerds in the middle. It wasn't sour, but it was just like that small, spherish shape.
Right.
And then my other favorite was in school, and you could get them at Halloween. Was the skeleton, the pack of? It looked like a fruit snack pack, but it was like skeleton bones, and it was like chalky, smarty, I guess material.
Yeah, they had like Spree's like coating.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what was cool about those was my teacher, specifically in first grade, had this worksheet where she would. They were all mixed up. It wasn't just like a skeleton. You just have pieces, and then you would count out which ones you had, and if could you make your own man, and like I just remember that. Just, Halloween time in school was always like the activities were always really fun. But back to we'll talk. That is a good topic, and I don't want to segue just yet. But the back to the bad candy. I know you got some more.
I had. I don't know if they're super Halloweeny. I'm just thinking about like the candies that are so you're in the candy section at the store, and like there's all the branded stuff and it's right there, but then like to the left of all of it is just, and they're all hanging, is those clear bags of candy where it's like it's got like the caramel creams, it's the circus peanuts and the candy corn. And those are the ones I'm kind of thinking of, like, because people always rag on candy corn, and I agree. I don't like it, but it is just one of those. It makes me think of those. It makes me think of circus peanuts, which I weirdly used to like as a kid, but like I've grown out of them, I guess.
It can't be like because we're health conscious, like whether we want to be or not, because we're older, and it's like those can't be good.
No, that's not why. Like that, no, that's not why for me at all. I probably just had too many, or I just grew out of it. I'm not even close to health conscious.
That's funny.
My son is actually a lot more health conscious than me. He'll like. He'll find out something's got too much sugar, and he's like, "Oh, I shouldn't have this." I'm like, "I respect that. I'll fucking eat it then if you're."
That's
not.
Awesome, dude. Wow. I guess gummy worms were like that for me too, because I was like, I can't eat a whole bag of these anymore.
Dude, you just reminded me. Okay, so it's kind of segueing out of like bad candies, because gummy worms and gummy bears do fit into that like kind of off-brand like candies, but Dude, you just got me thinking of like sour gummy worms, and dude, sour candies were my thing growing up.
Yeah, like Shock Tarts. I mean, I got Shock Tarts in Halloween. I will say real quick, as far as sucky things to get, I didn't ever enjoy getting fruit because like
Yeah.
it makes me feel bad because that's for like people that probably really needed it, but I didn't. And see, again, that sounds so bad. I am so grateful for anything that anybody's ever given me. But when you're a kid, and you get an apple, you're like, what?
Right. Well,
Yeah, but the pennies was even worse.
yeah.
I don't understand that to this day. It was like 3 or 4 pennies, and they might have been from that year, so that was probably cool. But I don't know about that.
But the mentality there for the fruit is like I there's like obviously a good, it's in good faith. You're thinking like, okay, these kids they're getting all this chocolate, they really should eat something a little better, and I respect that. But that's like, dude,
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that because I did get toothbrushes and stuff. Now that you
Right.
say that, and I'm like, what are you doing?
For sure.
Just turn your light off on your porch.
But what I don't think any of those people think about, and it's like it's like, number one, you're not their parent. Like, if the parent is going to allow them to eat candy, and if it's 1 day a year. Like, if you're going to let them eat the
Right.
stupid candy, let them eat the candy. The parents can decide to let them eat the
Well,
apples.
they can go
the
through
rest
the
of the year.
bag too.
And
Yeah,
and
it
then
ain't no big deal to go through somebody's bag.
right. But what
2
pisses me
seconds.
off about it is like you said, none of us were happy to get the apples, and we didn't eat them. You're just wasting apples. Like, we're not getting them thinking, oh, you're right, I should eat this instead of the chocolate. Or
Yeah,
in
they
addition,
sit in your nasty bag
yeah, we just
the
didn't
whole
eat it.
time.
Like,
I don't know. I feel like people are listening right now and they're like, "We give out apples. You guys are jerks."
and they can. And maybe some kids are eating
You know,
apples.
that's a freedom of speech in America. You can give out whatever you want for Halloween, but you can also hear us say that it's not that fun to get.
Dude, were people actually putting razor blades in apples? Was that a thing?
No, you know what? And I looked that up long ago. There, and unless there's been one since I last looked it up, there's never been an instance of that. And also, you have to really rationalize if you've ever met anyone that's ever done drugs, they're not giving out their drugs ever. There's never been a time where they're like, let's drug kids. Now, pedophilia and all that
Right.
craziness.
For sure.
That's sure. There's always a situation. My number one philosophy, everything's situational. So everything could happen. But as far as that dark, mysterious figure doing that, no. I don't think it happened. Did kids get kidnapped on Halloween and stuff? Sure. It's one of those things where it's like people are like, oh, things are scarier now. I think it's just because it's being reported now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eat faster. So it's not really Halloween's ever been dangerous, or it's always been dangerous to send your kids out into the world. But there's, certain candies and things, but dietary restrictions and allergies and stuff. But I agree with you 100%. Like telling people what they can and can't give out. That's pretty tough. Maybe if you had like a really strict HOA, I get that.
Right. Yeah, and it comes down to like, you're giving this stuff out, and like our kid, and that, like I said too, it's funny about like, you look for razor blades and apples, and it's like no one's eating the apples anyways. Who cares? Like even if they did put a razor blade in it, that apple and the razor blade are both going in the trash can. So like, who cares? Like, if they're putting razor blades in my Snickers, then yeah, I'd be dead right now. But like, it's in the apple that no one eats. Like, it's a whole thing. Like, honestly, I would love if, well, actually, okay, I was gonna say something stupid. Change of pace, hot take about candy, and because like people, we're talking about bad things to get, and one thing people always talk about is like, oh man, the best places to go are the rich neighborhoods that give out king size candy bars. I'm gonna say right now, I actually prefer. I don't like to get king size shit in my candy. Like,
It's funny. I'm so happy you brought that up too, because I was thinking about, you were talking about something to do with candy trends. And my thinking in my head was, what will our kids not enjoy? And or no, okay, now I know what I'm talking about. You said old people candy suck, and the reason they're out of touch is because it's candy they like, and we are like, "Bleh, that's been around too long." Uh, and I was thinking, what will be our candy that we're like, yes, we can push this on our kids. They're gonna love it and they're gonna hate it because they're health conscious. And you said that they're gonna, or you hate getting full size candy bars, and I was like, what if that's it? Like, like you're like, why are people buying apples? They're just wasting them. Now we're gonna be wasting full size candy bars,
Dude, I
because
bet that.
nobody, like the kids are like, why do they keep doing this?
Yeah, well, because it was super popular thinking growing up to get the king size stuff, but like my thought process when I'm eating my candy is like I love the individualized packages in the bite size.
I think
stuff.
they're more dangerous because you're gonna eat one Snickers bar or you're gonna eat 20 fun size.
Exactly. And
That's
since
why
I'm
they
not
call it
health
fun
conscious,
size.
that's the dream, bro. Like I'm not confined to, because when you go to the candy store, or not the candy store, no one goes to the candy store, but like you go, like it's fucking Willy Wonka, but like you go to, the gas station with your parents, they finally let you get a candy bar, and that's great. But like you eat that one candy bar and you're done. But on Halloween, dude, I can get some Snickers, some Twix, some M&Ms, and dude, I can just go nuts on so many different
Yeah, it's
kinds.
like a buffet.
Yeah, but like
I agree.
if you eat a king size, like you might just be kind of done. Like, if I eat a king size Snickers, be like, I'm probably done for the evening. This is kind of
Right.
And I don't
It's
want
a
to be
meal.
done. I don't want to be done. I want to keep trying miniature shit. That's what I want.
That sounds like me with craft beer. I used to be like real adamant on drinking dark beer. And then one day I was like, man, I'm drinking a loaf of bread. and now I just, when I go out, I'm like, what? When I look at craft beer, I'm like, what can you get that is the lightest thing? And then I realize like, that's just like Budweiser and Bud Light. That's why people like it. And it's just like this long journey that's just taking me to this circle to like, man, these beers are okay all along. Because they're light. And you drink one beer, you want to take a nap. And these beers, you can sustain all day.
Yeah.
Anyway, that made me think of that.
Is there like, is there like a can? So you made me think of like, with alcohol, obviously, I don't know if we've talked about it, much since, in the last decade, but like I still don't drink, and it's because,
Nice.
and it's just something
I actually don't much anymore. I still will have a beer, but it's like one beer a month. But anyway, sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
No, you're good. No, I was gonna say like it's like when the reason I quit drinking, like I drank some when I was a teenager and whatever, and I realized I hate the taste of this. This sucks. And maybe I drank shitty beer, which I did, but it's everyone tells.
Oh, we definitely did.
Yeah, and everyone says, "Oh, it's an acquired taste." To me, I think that's stupid. I'm not going to get into a whole thing about alcohol. I'm really not. I'm just it's just like I'm going to ask you, okay, are there any candies that have become an acquired taste? Like something you tried enough that like you didn't like as a kid, and then you just grew into like, okay, this is actually like an adult thing, like something that as a kid just didn't seem.
Yeah.
Is there an acquired candy taste for you that you think you've come across?
There's two, and yeah, it's Take Five. One of them is Take Five, but the one I want to talk about that's more unique is when I was a kid, my cousin went to Mexico on a cruise, and he came back with this candy, and he was like, "Dude, it's so good, you can't get it here." And it was trick candy, which not really, but for a southerner, yeah, it is. But it was a sucker without the stick, so just think like that hard shell, and then it was coated in red, I guess rolled in something sticky red, and then rolled in some sort of powder, and essentially it was it was like a hot candy, and you licked off the outer, I don't know, I wish somebody would explain better. But anyway, I tried that thing and I was like, oh, dude, this is the nastiest thing I've ever had. Like wash my mouth out like, ugh. And now I'm like, and those things are good. And you can get them at like Kroger and stuff. And they're not trick candy. It's a normal candy. He just called it that because we weren't used to it. And that's definitely one that I enjoy now, because they do popsicles like that too, and I'm just like, this is pretty good.
Is it? I feel like I've heard of that. I don't think I've ever eaten it. Is it chili powder? Is that what it is?
I think so, man. It has to. It's like some sort of sweet, like think melted Jolly Rancher, like like if a Jolly Rancher turned into liquid and it was like still stretchy, sticky, but like gum almost.
Mm-hmm.
But they wrap that around popsicle or candy or whatever, and then they roll it in, yeah, that chili powder.
Hmm.
And it's like your brain is like, this is not good, and then you keep eating it and you're like, this is good. I
Yeah.
don't know, it's a shock to your senses for sure. But what about you? Was there yeah, real quick, like Take Five, like with the pretzel, there's a lot of layers, and I was like, nah, it's for adults. And then one day I was like, I'm an adult, it's pretty good.
I don't know if I've had a Take Five since I was a kid. I think I'm pretty stubborn.
I
Like,
think it's a Reese's cup wrapped around like a whole pretzel, not like a mall pretzel, but like
right.
like the blue bag pretzels.
There's just
Pretty good.
there's just something about it. Like, it's not that I'm anti. I'm just one of those people where like I'll try something and I have an opinion on it, and then like my brain just says it just like it doesn't exist anymore. You know, like I don't even look at
Hmm.
Take Five. I'm not looking at it like, oh, I tried this and I hated it. I'm just like, yeah, Take Fives are just they're not even really in my peripheral anymore. Like I've tried those and like the Heath bars and just I don't like toffee, you know, and so I don't
Hmm.
even like I'm so hyper focused on the candies I do like that I don't once I've tried something and didn't like it years ago, they don't exist to me anymore. You know, my brain just
I know,
filters
I
them out.
know. I'm kind of lucky. I'm the same way, specifically with like drinks. Like your brain gets locked in on when like at a restaurant, you're like, oh, I'll take a Coke or whatever,
Hmm.
and you're like, wait a minute, I want to try something else. I've never, like, but that's different. Um, I guess I'm lucky because I always watch TikToker food blogger like, hey, we're gonna try Popeye's new menu item, and it's like real trash food kind of thing. But they kind of open my eyes to like, what's this limited time offers that these companies are doing, or what's the hot new thing they're trying, or uh, so I always try new things now, like when I go out. But I was thinking we have not talked about haunted houses or
Oh,
scary Halloween events that weren't house shows.
dude, I used to work at a haunted
Um,
house.
oh, I didn't even know when.
Yeah, dude, we were living together. I think maybe. But dude, this was when I
Was it?
was like 19, and we were. It was when we were working it out back, or at least I was. Maybe you hadn't started there yet, but I was working it out back, and then no. I'm sorry.
Was it
sorry.
Mark? Was it Mark Hendricks's?
No, I'm actually. Oh no, it's not. It wasn't Mark Hendricks's. No, there was this girl you know Kelsey Reese. We used to work with her. Her boyfriend
Oh,
her boyfriend Corey, they
yeah.
lived in Clinton, and his mom put together a haunted house in
I
Clinton.
remember that. I
Yeah,
remember
and
that.
it was like right next to the comic book store, which was just and our friend Josh and Kelsey, they lived upstairs above it. And dude, like
Yeah.
I asked for the month off of work to go work there. Like I didn't make much money working there, but dude, it was so much fun because they let me like alternate, like rotate my roles where I could sometimes put on a costume and go and like go and be the scarer, you know. I could, and I would always try and push the boundaries a little bit because, like, you know, obviously there's like the tough asses come in there and they're like, oh, you can't touch me, so I'm not scared, and so I'd touch them and they'd be like, oh shit, you can't do that. I'm like, I'm gonna get
Right.
sued because I was being stupid, but
And there's not really any official training. It probably should
no,
be, but I
but
don't know.
I just wanted to okay, you're gonna be tough. Well, let's push it. Like I didn't hit him, but I'm just like, all right, well, I'm gonna do something. But then my
Hmm.
favorite thing to do though was we did like an element of it was like a tour, like you're almost going through a tour of a house, and so they let me put on like a sweater vest and glasses, and I did like a British accent, and I walked them, and I pretended to like not notice the ghost and stuff.
I love it.
Dude, it was
That's pretty
fun.
creative.
I had a lot of
Yeah.
fun with it. Yeah.
I have two stories, but I don't want to long wind. So I'll just snippet this one before I get into the one that I think will be really interesting. Uh, I can remember my aunt having a Halloween party and they did a little thing in her shed, and she was like, "Cover your eyes," and I was already freaked out. I don't know why. I was just scared. Um, but she had a Tupperware container and she was like, close your eyes. And I put my hand in there and it was like grapes. And she's like, this is eyeballs. And then, like that old shtick where you put your hand and it's
Right.
like spaghetti and stuff.
Yeah.
I love that. It was just super fun. But the one thing that probably caused me trauma, that I'm probably still, I don't know. It was funny, but so me and my cousin went to church a lot, of course, and she took me to, it was in Clinton. I swear to God, I wish I could remember exactly where, but it was this church that had this what was it called? It was a Halloween haunted house, but it was not, obviously it wasn't haunted. It was nothing haunted house. It was like your Oak Ridge graduation party where they're like, come here instead of
Hmm.
going and drinking. It was
Right.
like, come here to do this instead of haunted houses. Well, anyways, way more messed up. Okay, so we get there and Kelly, it's like my cousin's Kelly, and she's like, we're gonna go hang out at this coffee shop before the event starts, and it was next to the church. So we go in there and they're taking our orders, and I was like, I don't want anything. I don't have any money. I'm just a kid, and she's just like, okay, okay. And then they walk away, and then all of a sudden there's somebody that walks in and is like, I've got a bomb, and you hear two people clap pieces of wood like in a play that sounds like a real loud bang, like bang.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on? And there's smoke everywhere. And they're like, all right, everybody, your life has just ended. Follow us. And they walk us into this church. And they, as long as I could go on like this, they take us in and go through the stages of, they do the bomb. They take you to this little room, and it's these gurneys. So you lay on your dead table, getting an autopsy table. I don't know what that's called. And then they push you into the next room, like and they show you those filing cabinets with the bodies in it.
Yeah.
That's what they were mimicking. And so they push you into the next room, and you're in a coffin, and this lady's crying over you, and all these people are looking at you, and you're in a funeral, and then they pull you back through, and then it's like so fast and disorienting, and then you're dead, like officially, and they walk you into the sanctuary with the Jesus, and he's like, I think it's Peter telling you you've been approved or not for heaven. He tells you no. So you're like, oh no. So they take you down to the basement, and it's dark, and this guy dressed up as the devil in the suit. The Devil Wears Prada lyric, he wears a slick jacket and gold watch.
Yeah.
That's the exact, like, he was just like, hello, everybody, you're in hell now. And it was just like, that was a lot for like I don't know how old I was. I was like 9, 8, 7. No, definitely middle school.
Dude, fuck
But
that.
man, I know, dude. Every time I tell people that story, they're like, "That did not happen." And my cousin, I always have to get my cousin to like, "No, it did." And I always try to rationalize it as like, okay, it was at least safe for kids, But dude, it was so intense, and I was like, "That's way worse than a haunted house."
Dude, yeah,
'Cause
that's
you were like
so scary.
you were going into rooms like they would pull you through the wall, and like it took me a while to really, really understand what they did, but it was, oh man, that whoever set that up, it's like Rapture House or something like that, and it was in Clinton.
That's wild, dude. I've never heard of anything like that.
I wish I knew more people that went. If somebody would have filmed going through that, I would have been so happy to have that, as like a visual evidence. But yeah, haunted houses can get kind of messed up. Another one that I liked was like corn mazes.
Yeah.
And then they don't tell you it's haunted, or now they probably have to. But there's always like that guy in there that's just like, with the chainsaw.
Right,
and you're just
yeah.
like, and you run and stuff. That's super fun.
Yeah, I've been on a couple. I've actually only been in a corn maze twice, and it was never during haunted. I've only been with like my kids, so it was like daytime. It was never
I was gonna
haunted.
say it's got to be huge for you taking kids, like, because me and my wife go to pumpkin patches and stuff, and that's more fall than Halloween, I guess. But
yeah.
I'm like, dude, taking a kid here is probably Well, on one hand, it's sweet, but on the other, you're probably spending a ton of money.
Yeah, it's actually not that bad. I mean, I think it's like $15 a
good.
person, like something, and it like includes like everyone gets a pumpkin when you get to the patch. But it's like,
Right,
it's
those things make it.
it's
Make it
fun,
worth it.
dude. I like we take our kids to the same one every year, in Knoxville called Deepwell Farm, and it's really fun. And there's another one we tried last year that we weren't as big a fan of. I'm not gonna like talk. I don't remember the name, but even if I did, I wouldn't talk down on them. We just didn't enjoy it as much.
Right.
And so, but yeah, I mean, the Deepwell Farm, dude, we go there every year, and it's so much fun. But yeah, no, you're right. It is probably a little bit more fall related, but we do get a pumpkin, and we do the pumpkin decorating and stuff. But one thing I was going to bring up too, though, kind of in that same vein of like, is it Halloween? Is it not? Is like, how is movies like, because how?
Oh, bro, I'm so happy you said that because I would literally was gonna ask you if you'd watch, and I'm not trying to interrupt you. Any of the Ernest, like Ernest Scared Stupid, was that a big movie to you?
I don't think I've ever seen an Ernest movie, dude.
I was in White House yesterday, and that's where he kind of, retired. And I didn't go to his house or anything, but I was like, ooh, the Halloween episode, because I watched Ernest Scared Stupid a lot, me and my brother. But then as I get older, it's either cult classic, people love it, or people have never heard of it. And I was just curious if you, because he started in Tennessee, so it would make sense that it hit my circles. But you were here when all that stuff was going on. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I mean, I've actually always wanted. Probably should, because I've always heard like so many of my friends have been big into that.
Oh, okay. So
Ernest.
you are at least familiar with it.
Oh, for sure. Like you and Aaron Babcock, and there's another guy I know from Johnson City. He's got an Ernest tattoo on his leg. I'm very familiar. I've just never watched it, but it's probably something I'd appreciate.
And now that you say that, Vern is his band name.
Yep.
Yeah, it makes complete sense.
Yeah. But yeah,
It's special. I would like to I would be so interested to hear what your children think of it. I tried to watch it last year. I actually paid to watch it, like, because I couldn't find it anywhere. And I was like, it's a little dated for, not that he's like saying racist things. I'm saying like, it's just like, I'm older, it's boring.
right.
But as a kid, it was just like, oh yeah, something, it was scary, but
Right.
it was for kids. And he was like that relative that you just like looked up to, that he was just goofy and relatable to kids, but always could save the day somehow.
Yeah. That's how I aspire to be. But
Yeah. Right. I guess, well, we could talk about our favorite Halloween movie. We're pretty close, but
yeah.
my favorite Halloween movie, I did like Hocus Pocus was good. What about you?
Well, I was gonna say, in relation to, is it even technically a Halloween movie? Would you, because it's like spooky, but it's not ever really set on Halloween, I don't think. Would you consider in either of the Addams Family movies Halloween movies?
Oh yeah, easily.
Okay.
Big hits here, and Beetlejuice is in that category as well. It's
Right.
not technically Halloween, but it's the aesthetic of Halloween so much that it gets swallowed in.
And that's how I approach Addams Family. Like, we'll watch it in like October, and dude, that's Addams Family. Both Addams Family Values are my favorite like spooky season movies by far. Like, they're so funny to me. And dude, Gomez Addams is one of my favorite fictional characters ever. I love that character. I love the whole vibe, dude. Addams Family is great.
Yeah. That's my wife and I's aesthetic a lot. Those two people, but definitely those movies. I think we have both of them on VHS. We have like a nostalgia corner. I think I told you about that.
Yeah.
We're almost up to like 50 tapes, dude. I got more tapes than I got DVDs.
That rules. Oh, quick question
go
about,
ahead.
you say you and your wife. Is your wife taller than you?
I don't think so.
Okay, I don't, because I've only seen pictures. I've never actually met her, and just like based on
She's definitely not like, she's not like that. She's not what's the people in the film? No, we're closer in height.
Okay. No, I was
The
kind of
difference they
picturing
had.
like the Adams family, with Morticia and Gomez, and she's taller, and I was just thinking
Yeah.
like based on pictures,
No,
maybe it's
no,
just
no.
like is she, and I don't know. I was just kind of curious, but that'd be funny if like a really cool like if you guys were ever to do like a full on
Like it's
Halloween,
perfect. Yeah.
yeah,
No, we almost did Thor and his. I don't know the name of
Jane.
her character. Yeah. But we didn't do that. And that I was way fatter then too, so I'm glad. Maybe it wouldn't have been good.
Well,
I could
hey,
probably
Avengers Endgame,
handle it
dude.
now.
Thor was heavy in that movie, so
I know, man. And what's funny is when I'm telling you, dude, that came out at the perfect time. Like I was so down on myself, and it was just like, I see Marvel trying to fire me up again.
dude.
It worked. It was just really good. Good. Hero wins. It's not gonna
Yeah,
change the
dude.
formula.
Dude, well, I'm glad, dude. My
Uh,
last thing, then, dude. And I'd love to do like a comic book episode, obviously, like
Easily.
old comic book series and TV shows and movies. But like my wife, dude, I never thought about it. I don't know, maybe I wasn't going to do anything at the time, but like in Avengers Endgame, my wife had a very similar like connection to Thor in that movie, where like when he gets to like 2012 or whatever year it was, Asgard, and he reaches out for Mjolnir, and then he says I'm still worthy, and he like gets all because he's like depressed, and my wife said it really resonated with her, and like I was like, really, why? But like it's just one of those like depression, like apparently Thor in that movie like really really reached to people.
yeah, yeah, it was really well done, and I like the actor,
Oh
Chris
yeah, he's great.
So, and ironically, I thought he was gonna ruin Mad Max, but they're the new Mad Max, and I was like, oh no, he's great. So I thought the new one was good too. So, um, Halloween is coming, or it's already passed. But we are here to celebrate it and enjoy it. Um, we loved the costumes that we wore from kids all the way to adults. We did our fair share of toilet paper in houses, but we didn't talk about that, so we didn't get incriminated. But we've all been there. We talked about the candy that we enjoyed. What did you like to reach into and grab? Were you one of the people that enjoyed the surprise, or did you want that full size Snickers? Halloween is great, and Thanksgiving time could arguably be better. Find out on the next episode of I Remember That podcast. Thanks for joining in.